There is a state of emergency in the WNBA right now. Their only star, their cash cow, the only player capable of capturing interest from people who aren't identifying as they, them. Caitlin Clark is out for a minimum of 2 weeks and possibly longer with a quad strain.
The WNBA just got a brutal reminder of a hard truth in pro sports. You can't fake star power. 2 days ago, the Indiana Fever announced that Caitlin Clark would be out for at least 2 weeks with an injury, and just like that, the league's momentum crumbled faster than an Angel Reese missed layup.
If there wasn't any worry going on in the WNBA executive offices, if there was no worry, oh, people aren't going to turn off, oh, people are still going to show up, if that was the thought that they were having up there in WNBA La La Land, well, now might be the time to hit the panic button.
Ticket prices for the Fever vs. Sky game at the United Center dropped a shocking 71% in just 1 day. Fans are demanding refunds, canceling travel plans, and offloading tickets at huge losses. The league gambled big by moving games to larger arenas, counting on Caitlin Clark's star power, and now they're scrambling as empty seats tell the story. And as for the so-called Angel Reese effect, spoiler alert, it doesn't exist. Let's all wish Caitlin a speedy recovery. Drop a get well soon, CC, in the comments below. Let's go.
48 hours after news hits that Caitlin Clark is injured and she'll be missing 2 weeks, the market has responded and the market has told the WNBA, we don't want this. We want her, but we don't want.
The moment news broke about Caitlin Clark's injury, fans started panic selling their tickets faster than Angel Reese throws up bricks. The Chicago Sky thought they'd made a genius business move by relocating their June 7th matchup against the Fever to the United Center, the iconic home of the Chicago Bulls. They banked on massive crowds and premium ticket prices, all because people were desperate to see Caitlin Clark live.
The reality is, at this point, we don't know how much time Caitlin Clark is going to miss. If it were up to Uncle KC, Caitlin Clark would miss the remainder of the regular season, so jealous, entitled players in the WNBA can be reminded that no one is watching for them. No one is staying home on a Saturday afternoon to watch Natasha Cloud. Outside of Vlad Pooter, no one's buying tickets to see Bob Griner, and no one, I mean no one, is paying to see Angel Reese attempt to play basketball.
Within hours of the injury announcement, those big dreams crashed harder than a wide-open Angel Reese layup. Ticket prices for the United Center game nosedived from $86 for entry-level seats to just $25, a staggering 71% drop in a single day. The Sky went from counting profits to counting empty seats, and the game hasn't even tipped off yet.
When it comes to the Chicago Sky game, the marquee matchup in the WNBA, like it or love it, rivalry or not, Chicago Sky, Indiana Fever, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, that is the marquee matchup in the WNBA, and those tickets are crashing just as well. From $86 48 hours ago to $25. And by the time June 7th rolls around, it might cost you a bag of Skittles and some Lay's potato chip to get in there.
Real fans were making tough decisions, and in the process, revealing the truth about Clark's impact. One devoted supporter canceled his flights and hotel bookings for the upcoming Connecticut Sun game in Indianapolis, saying, "We're Caitlin fans before we're Fever fans. She's the biggest draw. That's who the girls want to see."
A majority of these are everyday, normal people who watch Caitlin Clark in Iowa, watch her in her first year in Indiana, said, man, I want to watch that. I want to go to those games. I want to experience that. They won't be able to experience it. Time to sell. Families that are going to be driving a state over, 2 states over, commuting 4 hours, getting a hotel room, paying for parking, paying for this, they're not doing that anymore. People from flying across the pond, they're not flying across the pond to watch the Indiana Fever. Stop it, WNBA. They're flying across the pond to watch CC22.
The Washington Mystics found themselves living the same nightmare. They'd moved their matchup with the Fever to the larger CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore, banking on Caitlin Clark's star power to pack the house. But once the injury news broke, ticket prices collapsed, dropping from $41 to just $22. That's a 47% plunge, leaving the Mystics staring down a financial disaster.
Indiana Fever ticket prices to games over the next 2 weeks have dropped 42% since Caitlin Clark's injury announcement, an average ticket price of $137, all the way down to $80. People are selling their tickets, definitely can't get face value, so what do? They just continue to lower and lower and lower and lower and lower the price. This isn't all resellers, folks. Hate to break it to you. A majority of these are everyday normal people.
Data from TickPick exposed just how brutal the fallout really was. Average ticket prices for the 4 games Caitlin Clark was expected to miss dropped from $137 to just $80. This wasn't a minor market dip or a seasonal slump, it was a full-blown collapse. Teams that had banked on Clark's popularity were suddenly staring at half-empty arenas and flooded with refund requests from frustrated season ticket holders. This market meltdown laid bare a truth the WNBA has been reluctant to admit. The league's recent surge and attention hinges almost entirely on one player. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rising star, she's the main attraction. The reason casual fans buy tickets, book hotels, and build weekend plans around a basketball game.
Angel Reese, Under Pressure. When you think about it, there have been so many classic songs written about the WNBA dump. Obviously, Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie, which directly applies to what Angel Reese and her colleagues are going through right now. An immense amount of pressure to carry this dump of a league while Caitlin Clark recovers from a quad strain.
Meanwhile, Chicago Sky fans were likely left scratching their heads, wondering why their own so-called superstar couldn't generate even a fraction of this hype. Angel Reese's presence has never caused ticket prices to spike, travel plans to shift, or games to be moved to larger arenas. The contrast is undeniable. When one player's injury sends shockwaves through the entire league's economy, while another's best performances barely make a ripple, the difference in star power becomes painfully clear. TV ratings tell a story that should make the rest of the WNBA take notice. In the 2024 season alone, Caitlin Clark was responsible for 26.5% of the league's entire impact across attendance, merchandise, and television viewership combined. That's one player accounting for over a quarter of the WNBA's relevance. But the most devastating reality? The viewing numbers show just how far behind the rest of the league really is when it comes to drawing power.
With Caitlin Clark injured, the WNBA will be reliant on their other stars to carry the league. I'm not just talking about ratings. I'm not just talking about attendance. The WNBA will be reliant on their other stars to maintain the interest of the mainstream. With Angel Reese being the only player with mainstream name recognition, most of the pressure it is going to be on her to perform. And we have plenty of evidence that proves Angel Reese is not qualified to carry the league.
Out of the 23 WNBA games this season that drew over 1 million viewers, guess how many featured Caitlin Clark? 20. Out of 23. Let that sink in. Without Clark on the court, the league struggles to crack numbers she delivers effortlessly, just by stepping onto the hardwood. The average viewership for games featuring Clark was 1.178 million. For all other WNBA games, just 394,000. That's not a gap. That's a canyon. A massive divide that shows just how much of the league's visibility and momentum is tied to one player.
People might be saying, oh, well, the teams aren't really going to suffer. They already sold the tickets. No. You don't understand. If the Chicago Sky moved into the United Center, and let's say resale-wise, they sold all 19,000, well, when only 9 to 10,000 show up, they're losing merchandise sales, they're losing food sales, they're losing beverage sales. They're losing big. They took a big gamble to get into that arena, and they're losing big because it's not going to be full, and those people aren't going to be buying things there.
The WNBA just received a brutal wake-up call, and it came in the form of Caitlin Clark's injury. When Clark was temporarily sidelined, the financial consequences were immediate and massive. According to TickPick, The average ticket prices for the 4 games she was expected to miss dropped from $137 to just $80. That's not a small dip. That's a collapse. WNBA teams that were riding the Clark wave suddenly found themselves staring at half-empty seats and fan complaints. People who paid top dollar for the Clark experience started asking for refunds. This isn't just about ticket prices. It's about the undeniable reality that the league's recent surge in relevance is tethered almost entirely to one player. Caitlin Clark isn't just the top rookie in the league. She's the fuel behind the WNBA's financial engine right now. The minute she was out, the league felt it. And that drop didn't just expose the Fever's dependency on her, it exposed the league's. Let's compare this with Angel Reese. While the media continues to push the Reese versus Clark rivalry narrative, the truth is in the data. When Clark was injured, the Fever's ticket prices dropped drastically. But did Chicago's prices jump with Reese leading the way?
No.
Did people flood arenas to see her carry the spotlight?
No.
The interest just wasn't there. Reese's presence alone hasn't moved the needle financially or viewership-wise the way Clark's has. Clark's absence created a vacuum, and Reese couldn't fill it. Here's what really stings for the WNBA. Clark has been responsible for 26.5% of the WNBA's total business impact this season. One player, just one, carrying over a quarter of the league's economic footprint. That's more than just influence.
That's a lifeline.
TV numbers tell the same story. Out of the 23 WNBA games this season that hit over 1 million viewers, 20 of them featured Caitlin Clark. Without her, the league struggles to get even 400,000 viewers.
When she's in,
that average jumps to 1.17 million. That's a staggering gap, and it's why ESPN and other networks rushed to broadcast 41 out of 44 Indiana Fever games nationally this season. Now, with Clark temporarily out, they're left scrambling to adjust programming and keep advertisers satisfied. Even more proof? The only 3 games that reached over 1 million viewers without Clark were either season openers or playoff games, highly marketed and strategically timed. Outside of those rare events, Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's only consistent ratings magnet. So, where's the Angel Reese effect? It doesn't exist, not at the same level. Social media popularity doesn't automatically translate into ticket sales or viewership. Reese's fans may be loud online, but the numbers at the gate and on TV just don't back it up. And the WNBA, now more than ever, has to face that hard truth. Let's go back to Reese's quote. In 20 years, we'll look back and say women's basketball is popular not because of one player, but because of Me Too. But reality just ran an experiment, and it had the opposite result. When Clark left the court, Reese was left standing alone under the spotlight, and nothing happened. No explosion in ratings. No surge in attendance. No viral moments. If this is her moment, take the lead, it's falling flat. This is the WNBA's uncomfortable reality. You remove Clark from the equation, and the league's momentum stumbles. The numbers drop. The headlines fade. That's not a rivalry. That's a hierarchy. And Clark is at the top. So, what happens now? With Caitlin Clark out, Indiana faces its most dangerous stretch of the season. Offensively, Kelsey Mitchell must step up and carry the scoring load, likely needing to average over 25 points per game. But here's the problem. Without Clark drawing defenders and spacing the floor, Mitchell will face double teams and defensive schemes designed specifically to shut her down. Inside the paint, Aaliyah Boston becomes even more critical. But without Clark's passing and shooting, teams will collapse the lane, daring the Fever to shoot from the outside. Can they make them pay? Role players like Lexi Hull, Christy Wallace, and especially Sophie Cunningham must step up, not just on the scoreboard, but as floor leaders and decision-makers. This is their moment to prove they're not just role players riding the Clark wave. Defensively, Indiana might need to slow the pace and grind games out. Without Clark's fast-break playmaking, their transition game loses its edge. Coach Christy Sides has her hands full, trying to reinvent an offense and defense that were both built around Clark's unique skill set. But for Clark herself, this setback might have a silver lining. Watching from the sidelines can offer a new perspective. She can study film, learn the tendencies of WNBA defenders, and return not just healed but smarter, mentally sharper. She's still adjusting to the speed and physicality of the pro game, and this short break could allow her to absorb and analyze without the pressure of playing. But for the league, her absence should be a giant red flag. You can't build a multi-million-dollar league around a single rookie and expect it to thrive when she's not on the court. Clark may have elevated the WNBA, but it's time for others to rise too. The league needs more stars with real drawing power, not just Instagram followers. Still, make no mistake, this injury just proved something we already suspected. Caitlin Clark isn't just the face of the WNBA, she's the foundation. Without her, the spotlight fades. The crowds thin. The excitement dips. The league can try to sell rivalries, hype up social media moments, and spin narratives. But when it comes to real-world impact, ticket sales, ratings, revenue, Caitlin Clark is the show. Let's hope she returns soon, stronger, wiser, and even more determined. Because if this injury proved anything, it's that the WNBA needs her far more than anyone wanted to admit. If you agree, drop a "Get Well Soon" CC in the comments. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a WNBA update. And now, check out this next video breaking down why the WNBA's biggest challenge isn't talent, but identity. Watch it now.